Social media for the first decade plus was very simple. It was like email marketing. You would get as many people to follow you as possible, and then you would post, and a percentage of those people would see it. That was the game. And that was easy for me to figure out because I did email marketing in 97, 98, 99 when that was like new, and I was a big winner in that game. That was underpriced attention. I was competing against liquor stores that were making catalogs, but I was getting to the customer for free instead of how much a catalog cost and getting to them faster. It was huge. It was foundational. So I saw the same thing in social. So I amassed big followings. That was the focus. TikTokification of social media, like I talk about in the book. That interest graph algorithm is now gonna eat up everything because it's better. It keeps you on the platform longer. Let's use common sense. You go to your Facebook, you're now 27, you went on Facebook at 18, the people you followed are people you met like one night hooking up or at a random party or whatever, and now you're seeing posts of them in Ohio with their aunt, and you're like, I don't give a fuck. But just like email, we don't unsubscribe from our fucking list. We just delete it or archive it, or like we don't put in the work to clean up our shit. So you kept seeing shit you didn't give a fuck about, which made you not spend 4 hours on it. It made you spend 14 minutes on your feed. Then you go to TikTok and you're seeing unlimited shit that you fuck with. And 4 hours later, you're like, what the fuck just happened? That's good for TikTok. That was bad for Facebook. Now all of them are gonna be like TikTok, and every social network is gonna have the For You page DNA in them for quite a while now. Maybe forever, because it's more humanly true. That's what I focus on, and that's why focus on your niche is about to fuck up everyone. You're gonna need to talk about more things than ever that are true to you, because you're gonna need that content to find more different audiences for you to be as big as you want to be.
I was gonna ask you, does that mean riches are in the niches now because of the interest graph? But to your point, if you've got multiple topics.
It's an and game. Think about how weird I am. The reason I know everybody from afar, especially in the game you're in, are like, what? Like garage sale videos. Then I mean, my grid has been fucked up for 12 years. And I was like, make a good grid. It's gotta be on brand. I'm like, you fucking have no idea what you're talking about. The grid is like 5% of the consumption. The feed is the whole game. So you go to my fucking thing, you're like, who is this? Jets video, garage sale, keynote, board meeting, V-Friends, what the fuck is that? Like people are like, what? Like I'm confusing the shit out of people because I don't care about the grid. I care about being as relevant to as many different people as humanly possible. So
it's really just about posting one post, and that could go viral to different people rather than—
I'm so glad you just said that. I was about to jump in earlier. Another thing. Let's talk about viral.
Sure.
I'm gonna use baseball. I know it's not as popular anymore, but it's the easiest one. Going viral is hitting a grand slam. Do you know anything about baseball?
A little. I know enough to be dangerous.
You know what a strikeout is?
Yes.
Good. Most posts are a strikeout.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't do what you want it to do. I'm in the business of singles and doubles and triples with the occasional home run and grand slam, but could give a shit about hitting a grand slam. Or if you don't follow baseball, everyone, I won't use an analogy. I don't ever think about going viral, ever. I only think about making good content that is valuable to the people on the other side. And that means that most of my stuff will consistently do solid, occasionally do better than solid, and once in a while go viral. I believe that most people suck at social media because they try to go viral on every post, and when they don't, they cry to mommy. Posting as much as you can is also based on self-awareness of like, I start with like, do I have something to say that could bring someone value? Again, I need everybody to hear this. That comes in all shapes and sizes. I mean this. If you're funny and you do a skit like King Batch, that's value. You made somebody smile. And it's a fucked up world out there, and the feeds are fucking negative, and media's negative, and like that little ha ha ha. If you're attractive, like people like looking at attractive people. If you know something about LinkedIn, that's valuable to the people that want LinkedIn. Like we all have value. If you know something about BMX or wine or sneaker, like value, value, value. I think people have niched themselves in a corner. What happens if you know a lot about sneakers and you know a lot about bourbon? Post both, but I don't want to the algorithm. And then people are super insecure. They almost never post because they don't think it's gonna do well, as if that means anything.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you normally get 5,000 views on your video, and this one got 49. What is, okay.
Yeah, who cares?
What is the matter with this? At first, if they're meant to be big, the ones we all know, there's so much attention there, but there's less content creators. And so anybody that's posting is gonna get more of the percentage of the attention. As it becomes normalized, it gets harder to go viral or get as many people to see it. And then at some point, it becomes really challenging. Kind of like the thing everyone's dealing with on Instagram right now. Because so much attention got deviated to TikTok. Not that anybody on TikTok is only on TikTok and not on Instagram. Obviously, the very young may be that way, but most people are on both. It's just that pre-TikTok, it was 4 hours on Instagram for that person instead of 2, because 2 is now on TikTok. The problem is, at the same time that went down from an attention standpoint, the amount of content that's being posted on Instagram is through the roof.
Yeah.
So yesterday, more content on Instagram than any day prior in Instagram's history, yet the attention is now fragmented between YouTube Shorts, TikTok, by the way, streaming services, by the way, Twitch, by the way. And so what ends up happening is there's only 24 hours a day, there's only so much attention, but there's more and more supply of content. So you have to know how to day trade it, like a stock, somebody who day trades stocks, you're buying in nanoseconds. Whether it is the actual social media platform, buying ads on the platform, the influencers on the platform to do deals with, or anything else in between, and across all these platforms, from LinkedIn to Pinterest to Snapchat to YouTube Shorts to Facebook to Reels to Instagram, and then the units inside. Do you post carousel? Do you post a video? Do you do a reel? Do you do a long form picture? Do you do a lot of copy? Do you do no copy? Do you do emoji? What time do you post? This is fucking science.
Yep.
And talent, if you're remarkably beautiful, that will probably work. If you're remarkably funny, that'll probably work. But for the most people, being good at it is the point of this book. I really this is the most textbook that I've ever written. I'm going there.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of how well I've played all of the instruments. And I just want to try to help people get better at it.
Yeah.
Because it is the game. You know how there's good A&Rs in music? How'd you know Lady Gaga was gonna be big? Whoever discovered her? He or she had a knack for it. Usually that knack is because you know how people are gonna feel. So I have a very good feeling of what the general public likes and doesn't like. But also, I put in the work. Back to what we were talking about earlier. When I jumped on YouTube in February of 2006 and went all in, I spent most of the summer of 2005 reading TechCrunch every blog post. And they would write about the new startups. If I hadn't put in that work, I would have clicked on the articles that led me there. If I didn't work 15 hours a day building winelibrary.com, sitting next to Eric Kastner, my developer, who probably was the one that said, read this TechCrunch article, because 3 years earlier I asked him, can I put wine videos on the website? How much would that cost? And after he told me $1 billion to host them, because it was old back then, he was like, you're probably gonna like this because it's free. I'm like, it's free? And so, I'm good at human psychology. I'll give you a real interesting one that you might find interesting since you're such a young buck. But back in 2007, when I was yelling about Twitter, almost everyone would say to me, this is so stupid. Who cares that you're walking the dog? Who cares if you're eating pizza? And my answer was everyone. And people were brain fucked with that. They're like, what do you mean? Now that must seem mundane to all you youngsters. Everybody shares everything about everything.
Yeah.
Back then, nobody shared anything about anything. So, I think human psychology helps me, right? Why did I understand Musical.ly? Because I understood that it was putting in front of, when it was only 14-year-old girls, it was still putting in content in front of them based on content they liked, not based on following someone. I saw that in Tumblr when I was an early investor in Tumblr, and I knew why Tumblr was winning. It wasn't the social graph people, it was the interest graph. What are you into?
Yeah.
And I always thought that was more powerful because Dustin and I could have been best friends in junior high, but then by high school, if our interests changed, right? We all lived through junior high and high school and college and post-life. We all saw, 1 or 2 or 3 people stay forever. A lot of times it's just because they've been there for so long and you just got war stories together. It's not even you are into the same shit anymore. But the natural human flight is you do change friends based on interest, times in life, things, right? And so that made more sense to me. So it's the skill of human psychology. It's the putting in the work. I wake up in the morning and I look at the App Store. And then I play with things. If I think Reclip is interesting, I download and play with it.
Yep.
And right now, the only ones that are playing with Reclip are Gen Alpha. It's like me and the 9-year-olds, and so like I put in the work, I stay curious, I watch, and then there's always moments where there's a tipping point. And I've been pretty good. Dustin's filming me in the back. For all the people that really follow me, obviously D-Rock is doing his own thing, and I always have different people filming. Dustin's now really been locked in with me for a little while, and he's been here 5, 6. So he's now seen a cycle, and here's what I mean where I'm about to go next, if we're getting very marketing nerdy.
Yeah.
He was here when Be Real was starting to get hot. He was in the meetings filming me when I was like, I think it's a feature. Like, now it's not him reading about it.
Yeah.
Now it's not the kids, everyone who's listening right now on podcasts, like me talking about it. No, he lived it. So he can see that like there is a skill set to being good at it, not just throwing against the wall and see what sticks. And so, I'm excited about this skill. I focus on it very heavily. For example, the cliche question people ask me all the time is like, okay, so what's next? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But the second I see it, I go all in, I taste it. And whether that was Vine, where it did mean something, but then it sold quickly, or it was Social Cam, or Vero, or all these other things. That Peach was a big one for a week back in 2014. Like, I'm very focused on paying attention, putting in the work, saying maybe. You know what fucks everyone up?
What?
I say no. TikTok, no. And I always say maybe.
Yeah.
With a hope to yes. I say maybe with a hope to yes in a world of people that say no.